A failure, and still just a secretary? My stepmother's sharp voice pierced the laughter-filled air at the bustling family reunion. Her words sliced through the joyful chatter, silencing cousins, uncles, and aunts alike. Dozens of eyes locked onto me, their smiles awkwardly frozen mid-laugh, unsure how to react. My stepmother, Isabella, stood with a wine glass elegantly pinched between her manicured fingers, her perfectly arched eyebrows raised in mock surprise. Heat flushed my cheeks, embarrassment twisting painfully inside my chest. I inhaled sharply, forcing a calm, steady breath to quell the bitterness rising in my throat. "I'm proud of the work I do," I said softly, but the tremble in my voice betrayed me. Isabella scoffed gently, drawing everyone's attention even closer. My father, Michael, stood quietly by her side, eyes averted, seemingly unwilling or unable to defend me. "Oh dear," she continued, feigning sympathy with a sarcastic lilt. "Still trying to convince us you're happy fetching coffee and answering phones?" A faint ripple of laughter echoed among some of my distant cousins. I held my chin high, fighting back the sting of tears that threatened to blur my vision. My stepsister, Clarissa, grinned smugly, leaning against her fiancé. "Give her a break, Mom. Maybe someday she'll become the best secretary the city's ever seen," Clarissa snorted, sparking more laughter. My heart pounded, hurt tangled with fury. But before I could say another word, my uncle, Robert, raised his glass to lighten the mood. "Let's toast to family successes." His tone awkwardly cheery, oblivious to how it felt like salt in my fresh wounds. I slipped away quietly, stepping outside into the brisk evening air. My pulse hammered painfully against my temples. They had no idea. None of them did. I wasn't just a secretary, at least not anymore. The secret I'd carefully guarded for months felt suddenly heavier, almost unbearable. I leaned against the cool bricks of a house, eyes shut tight. Tomorrow would change everything. Tomorrow they'd learn the truth, the hard way. But even now, facing their mockery, a part of me wished it didn't have to happen like this. Deep down, I hoped somehow, someday, they'd accept me for who I truly was, not for the title beside my name, nor for the bank account beneath it. My phone buzzed urgently. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" A message from Olivia, my assistant, flashed across the screen. I hesitated only a moment before replying. More than ever, I typed, my resolve sharpening like cold steel. This was my moment of redemption, of gentle justice served without cruelty, but firmly enough to rewrite the narrative they'd crafted about my life. Tomorrow would indeed change everything, and it was time they understood exactly who they'd underestimated. The following morning, the city felt different. Sunlight poured warmly over skyscrapers and bustling streets, illuminating everything with crystal clarity. Today was no ordinary day. Today marked a pivotal moment I'd envisioned countless times, but now, as it unfolded, my heart quickened with an unsteady rhythm of excitement and anxiety. Dressed sharply in a tailored navy blue suit, I stepped out of my car, heels clicking confidently against the polished marble floors leading to the prestigious glass entrance of Hansen Industries. The company, my family's pride and joy, was poised today for its most significant acquisition ever, a staggering $200 million merger with Orion Tech Solutions. And it all hinged on one signature, mine. At the building's entrance, security guards straightened respectfully. "Good morning, Miss Hansen," one greeted politely, tipping his cap slightly. "Good morning, Tom." I smiled warmly, feeling grounded by his familiar kindness. He'd always greeted me with the same respect, even when I'd merely been a secretary carrying stacks of folders and rushing coffee orders upstairs. Stepping into the sleek elevator, I watched the polished metal doors slide shut. The gentle hum resonated softly around me, amplifying my heartbeat as I rose swiftly to the top floor. Today, it wasn't the secretary's desk waiting for me. Today, I wasn't the woman running errands and quietly enduring subtle mockery. Today, I was stepping into a role I'd secretly earned through grit, determination, and quiet dignity. The elevator chimed, doors sliding apart to reveal the sprawling executive floor. Employees bustled quietly around me, their whispers stalling as I walked past. Shock, surprise, and uncertainty reflected openly in their widened eyes, each glance fueling my resolve. Olivia, my trusted assistant, approached quickly, eyes sparkling with excitement and reassurance. "They're all here in the conference room, waiting for you." I nodded, exhaling slowly. "Good. Let's not keep them waiting." With every step closer to the grand conference room, my pulse raced, adrenaline mixing seamlessly with satisfaction. Today was not about revenge. It was about validation, respect, and finally stepping out from the shadows cast unfairly upon me. As Olivia swung open the imposing wooden doors, the low murmurs of businessmen ceased instantly. Their heads swiveled in astonishment as I confidently strode forward, taking my rightful seat at the head of the gleaming mahogany table, formerly reserved for my father alone. My eyes met my father's first. Michael's expression shifted from shock to disbelief, his mouth slightly agape. Beside him, Isabella turned pale, eyes wide with confusion and dawning horror. Clarissa looked like she'd seen a ghost, gripping the edge of the table as if it might vanish beneath her fingers. Silence thickened, heavy and expectant, until a hesitant voice broke it from across the table. James Monroe, or Tech CEO, cleared his throat nervously. Is there a misunderstanding? We were expecting—" "Michael Hansen," I interrupted smoothly, offering James a reassuring smile. "My father is present, of course. But as of 6 months ago, I'm the CEO of Hansen Industries. All final decisions, especially regarding something this critical, are mine." I allowed my words to settle firmly around the room, watching closely as comprehension dawned painfully across every stunned face. Isabella's carefully sculpted composure crumbled like a sandcastle beneath an incoming wave, embarrassment brightening her cheeks. My father met my gaze with a quiet mixture of shame and curiosity. Clarissa's sneer vanished entirely, replaced by a stunned silence. Without bitterness, without cruelty, I gently addressed the stunned gathering again. "Before we proceed, I want you all to know, I have always believed in hard work, humility, and respect. I never sought this position out of spite. I earned it quietly, through dedication and commitment. And today, I intend to lead this company forward with integrity and compassion." James nodded slowly, visibly impressed, his wary gaze relaxing. "Understood, Miss Hansen. We're honored to finalize this deal with you." I offered him a gracious smile, sensing respect blossoming anew around the table. Isabella sat rigidly silent, her pride wounded, but she said nothing. Even Clarissa had the decency to avert her gaze, quietly processing the reality before her. My father cleared his throat, eyes heavy with regret. "I'm incredibly proud of you, Charlotte," he murmured softly, his voice strained with genuine emotion. "I wish I'd known." A deep breath steadied me. I nodded warmly, offering forgiveness rather than bitterness. "There's still time to make it right, Dad. For all of us." As I signed the document, the pen gliding smoothly across crisp paper, a weight lifted from my heart. This wasn't revenge, it was redemption. It was proof that quiet dignity could triumph over arrogance, that integrity would always outshine petty mockery. When the meeting adjourned, I stood, shoulders squared, pride buoying me as my colleagues shook my hand warmly. Even James lingered, eyes sincere as he praised my courage and vision. As I watched my family quietly exit, I knew the real victory had only just begun. The hardest part, healing the rifts that pride and misunderstanding had created, still lay ahead. But for today, I'd shown them precisely who I was. And now, finally, they knew I was far more than just a secretary. After the meeting, I quietly returned to my office, feeling an odd blend of relief and tension. Olivia followed, shutting the door behind her with a gentle click. She gave me a knowing smile. "You did amazingly, Charlotte. You earned their respect," she said warmly. "I hope so," I replied softly, sinking into my chair. "But more than respect, I want their understanding." Olivia paused thoughtfully. "They saw your strength. Maybe now they'll see your heart too." A knock sounded gently at the door. My father stood there, looking uncertain, his eyes hesitant. "Can we talk?" he asked quietly. Olivia gave me an encouraging nod and slipped out, closing the door behind her. I motioned him in. Dad stepped forward, remorse visible in his expression. "Charlotte, I owe you an apology," he began earnestly. "I underestimated you. Deeply. I allowed Isabella's judgment to cloud my own. It hurt, Dad. I confessed honestly. Not the jokes or being a secretary, but that you didn't defend me." "I was wrong," he admitted quietly, his voice sincere and full of regret. "I let pride get in the way of seeing who you've become." I sighed softly, meeting his gaze. "I didn't take this role to hurt anyone. I took it to honor what Grandpa started." Dad smiled sadly. "He'd be proud of you, Charlotte." "I'm proud of you, even if I didn't show it before." My heart softened at his sincerity. I stood and hugged him tightly, feeling a wall crumble between us. "Let's move forward from here, okay?" He nodded gratefully. "Thank you." After Dad left, Clarissa appeared hesitantly in the doorway. Her confident posture had vanished, replaced by humble uncertainty. "I messed up badly," she admitted. "I was jealous, and it made me act horribly. I'm truly sorry." I studied her quietly, sensing genuine remorse. "I appreciate that, Clarissa. It'll take time, but I'd rather have a sister than a rival." She smiled weakly. "Me too." Later that evening, Isabella surprised me by showing up at my office. Her usual arrogance was replaced by an awkward silence. "I won't pretend I'm perfect, Charlotte," she finally admitted softly. "But I was wrong. You proved that today." "I never wanted to embarrass anyone," I assured gently. "Maybe I needed to learn humility," Isabella said with a reluctant smile. "Could we start again?" "We can try," I replied honestly, offering a genuine smile. That night, I reflected on everything. I hadn't sought revenge, only understanding and respect. Now, with the hardest conversations behind me, I knew real healing was finally possible. Tomorrow would be a fresh start, one filled with hope, not bitterness. In the days that followed, the dynamic shifted noticeably. Colleagues greeted me warmly, no longer hesitant or uncertain. At family gatherings, laughter returned, genuine, warm, and inclusive. The earlier tension faded into quiet respect. One evening, Isabella invited me over for dinner. It felt odd stepping into her home as a welcomed guest rather than an outsider. She offered a shy, nervous smile as she set the table. "I know we can't erase the past, Charlotte," she began softly, handing me a plate. "But I'd like to build something better from here." "Me too," I replied, surprised by how genuine my words felt. Bitterness was draining away, replaced by cautious optimism. Dinner was filled with awkward, yet hopeful conversation. Clarissa, no longer mocking, spoke earnestly about her dreams. Dad watched us proudly, relief evident in his relaxed shoulders and gentle eyes. Later, Clarissa took me aside. "Charlotte, how do you forgive so easily? After everything I said and did?" I paused thoughtfully. Because holding on to anger is exhausting. Everyone deserves a second chance, even if it's hard. She smiled softly. "Maybe I can learn from you." At work, Hansen Industries flourished. Under my guidance, our merger became hugely successful, earning respect across the industry. Yet the greatest victories were personal ones. Olivia frequently joked about the newfound harmony in the office, but even she noticed the change. "You've brought compassion back here," she said warmly one afternoon. "It feels good." I smiled, grateful my journey wasn't defined by revenge, but by empathy and strength. One afternoon, Dad stopped by unexpectedly, holding an old family photo. "I found this," he said quietly, eyes misty. "You've grown so much." I took the photo gently, smiling at memories it stirred. "We've all grown, Dad. And that's something worth celebrating." He nodded warmly. "I'm glad you never gave up on us." As he left, I realized how much the journey had reshaped us all. The wounds had healed into scars of wisdom, reminders of how far we'd come. No longer defined by titles or judgments, We were finally becoming a family, stronger, kinder, and far wiser than ever before. The weeks passed smoothly, each day bringing a deeper sense of fulfillment. Hansen Industries soared, our recent deal attracting new investors, clients, and immense industry respect. But what truly filled my heart was the unexpected healing within my family, something far more valuable than profits or prestige. One Saturday morning, while sipping coffee and reviewing financial reports, my phone buzzed with a surprising text from Isabella. "Can we talk today, Charlotte? Just us." My curiosity stirred, but I quickly replied, "Sure. I'll come by soon." Within an hour, I was sitting in Isabella's familiar living room, sipping tea quietly across from her. The atmosphere felt different, calmer, free from past tension. Isabella placed her cup gently on the table, her usually confident eyes filled with vulnerability. "Charlotte, I've spent these past weeks thinking. I realize now how deeply my pride blinded me." I listened quietly, sensing her genuine reflection. "You've shown me something powerful," she continued, her voice soft but clear. "Kindness is stronger than pride. Compassion is stronger than resentment. I've been so wrong about you and about myself." Her confession moved me deeply. "Isabella, it takes courage to admit when we're wrong. That courage matters more to me than apologies." She sighed softly, looking relieved. "I've seen you transform this family, not through force, but patience and compassion. I want to learn from you." "I think we can learn from each other," I replied sincerely. As we sat there, an unexpected warmth settled between us, quietly dissolving years of bitterness. This felt like a true fresh start, a chance to build trust and respect from genuine understanding. That evening, the whole family gathered for a spontaneous dinner at Dad's house. Clarissa had cooked, something she'd never willingly done before, and the aroma of roasted vegetables and baked chicken filled the cozy dining room. Laughter rang easily around the table, and for the first time, I felt fully accepted, no longer mocked or misunderstood. Dad smiled warmly, pride evident in his softened gaze. Isabella's laughter mingled naturally, absent of any arrogance. Clarissa joked freely, her heart clearly lighter. Mid-meal, Dad gently tapped his glass, signaling for attention. "There's something I'd like to say," he began warmly, eyes fixed lovingly on mine. "Charlotte, you taught us all a lesson, not by lecturing, but simply by living with integrity and kindness." He paused, emotion thickening his voice. "I've never been prouder of you, or more grateful. Thank you for never giving up on this family, even when we failed you." His words pierced deeply, and tears pricked my eyes. "Dad," I responded softly, my voice shaking slightly, "family doesn't give up on each other, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." Clarissa reached over, squeezing my hand gently. "We're lucky to have you," she whispered earnestly. "I'm sorry for taking so long to see it." Isabella nodded gently, her eyes filled with sincerity. "We truly are." Later that night, as I walked outside beneath the peaceful glow of the moon, Dad joined me quietly. "Charlotte," he began softly, "I want you to know something important." "What is it?" I asked gently, sensing the seriousness in his voice. "Your grandfather once told me something I'll never forget," he said, looking thoughtfully toward the stars. "The strongest person isn't one who seeks revenge, but the one who chooses forgiveness. You embody that." My heart swelled, emotion overwhelming me. He was right. Forgiveness was hard, Dad, but it set us all free. He wrapped an arm around my shoulder warmly, pulling me close. "I'm grateful you chose compassion. It saved our family." Together, we stood quietly beneath the night sky, the peaceful silence a testament to healing and redemption. In the following months, Hansen Industries grew stronger, led not only by sound business decisions, but by compassion and empathy. My journey had taught me that true strength wasn't about proving people wrong. It was about inspiring them to be better. As I sat confidently behind my desk, glancing at my reflection in the polished window, I knew I'd earned my place, not through anger or resentment, but humility and perseverance. The lessons I'd learned weren't simply about triumph over mockery. They were about the profound power of kindness, the grace of forgiveness, and the courage to rise above judgment. My stepmother's harsh words no longer stung. Instead, they reminded me of the resilience I discovered within myself. I smiled, knowing that real strength was gentle yet powerful. It didn't destroy, it rebuilt, restored, and healed. And though the road had been painful, it had shaped me into someone I was proud to be. Someone who, in spite of adversity, chose understanding over bitterness, compassion over revenge. Someone who turned mockery into respect, not through harshness, but through quiet dignity. And that, I realized, was the greatest victory of all.